Monday. It's Gene Curtis, rejoined from the Innovation Campus studios by Bryce and Alex. I'm reading through the answers here on our question of the day, which is, fess up, how fast over the speed limit do you drive? And I notice a lot of people mentioning that they don't speed, and a lot of them say because they can't afford the ticket, but a couple have mentioned the price of gas, and that made me think we're going all the way back to the 70s here, friends. And Bryce and Alex, you won't remember this, but at one time the federal speed limit was 55 miles an hour. And
God, that sounds miserable.
They lowered it to 55 in the mid-70s because of the gas crisis, because the slower you drive, the less gas that you burn. So they made the federal speed limit 55 miles an hour. And let me tell you, a trip from Kearney to Lincoln on the interstate at 55 seemed to take about 3 days. It was like Oregon Trail time. It was insane how long
that. Yep.
It seemed so slow where, now, from where I live, I can be in Lincoln in 35 minutes and it's over 40 miles away. But yeah, no matter what, let's hope we never go back to those archaic times, because 55 was just incredibly slow.
Every once in a while, too, you'll see those signs on the side of highways that have like a daytime speed limit and a nighttime speed limit. Have you ever seen those?
Yeah,
they're not super popular anymore.
Never seen any in Nebraska. I think I've actually seen one in Grand Island.
Yes, there's one in Grand Island out by Fauner Park out in the country. It's 50 during the nighttime and 55 during the day. So.
All I had to say is respectfully, if you're going the speed limit, I'm probably going to pass you.
Wow. Okay.
I did notice.
It's true.
Dave said that he usually goes under the speed limit unless he said unless I'm impeding traffic. So if I like that attitude. I mean, if nobody's around, drive your speed. Who cares? But don't impede traffic. That's where I start to get crabby. So.
Before we get into today's interesting facts, I'd like to share with you the last encounter I had with law enforcement when it comes to maybe going a little above the speed limit. I'm doing a stretch that's familiar with Max Country listeners. Somewhere between, I want to say, York and Seward on the interstate.
That's a hot place for
going about my business. And as they tend to do, they sit in the median there.
Yep.
And I saw him a little late, and I tapped on the brakes, and my wife was with me, and, we both kind of just recognized in that moment I'm going to get pulled over. I especially knew that as I passed him and he was pulling out. I thought, this is
you saw him shifting into gear.
So I performed a tactical movement that I like to from time to time when this kind of situation arises where I find myself in the right lane. This is a pro tip for everybody out there. You find yourself in the right lane between a couple of people who are doing a little below the speed limit or right at. And so you can position yourself so the officer is unable to get to you.
They'll still get to you.
They will. It just becomes a little more challenging for them. At which point, this officer sped up right next to me, and I thought I was going to get a stern talking to. And
I just casually maneuver and knock you into the side.
I casually look over to him, and he looks at me. We make eye contact.
Oh.
And I see him start to do a hand signal, and I thought he was going to, point to me as get over.
Pull over.
Instead, he points at the car in front of me and mouths, I'm going for him, essentially. Come to find out, this guy, he had done the same thing. He was doing a tactical move just like I was trying, except he must have been doing a little faster than I was. So I tapped on the brakes, the cop got in my lane, and he pulled him over right there. And I was safe for another day.
Typically, if you're the first one to do it, you don't get caught doing it. It's always the one who follows. If you're following somebody fast.
This guy was ahead of me, though.
Yeah, you're the follower, so typically you probably would have been pulled over.
Yeah, he already had his eye on the prize.
I have a dear friend from high school who went through a stretch where she got like a few speeding tickets and had to, tap the brakes on her speeding habits.
Yeah, my brother has been high-risk insurance since he was 17.
Yeah, that's not good. Today's interesting facts are, of course, about speeding tickets and so forth. By the way, we're not encouraging speeding. For the record, somebody asked if we were doing
somebody
that.
asked.
We're
it's like we asked a question. We're not saying you need to drive faster. It's just simply a question.
Here are 4 things to keep in mind if you do consider speeding. First, the average cost of a speeding ticket is $125.
Ouch.
Yeah, probably more with inflation. No word on how they've increased.
I don't know.
The good news is there's a bit of a home field advantage. I've always wondered this. Out-of-state drivers are 20% more likely than the locals to get hit with a speeding ticket. The guy that they pulled over was from, like, Michigan or something ahead of me.
I 1,000% believe that.
I don't know if this is still true, but at one time in Kansas, if you were out of state and you got pulled over for speeding, you had to pay in cash on the spot.
I doubt that's a thing anymore.
And if,
if
you didn't have cash, they would escort you to town to the ATM. I mean, and this was a long time ago. I don't know if that's a rule anymore or not.
That must have been the Oregon Trail days.
It could have been.
That sounds straight out of the Old West right there.
Your horse is going too fast. Slow down. Pull back on the reins.
Nearly 40% of drivers successfully reduce or eliminate their speeding tickets in court with the help of a traffic offense attorney.
I told
you.
So
I guess if you want to fight it, you pay the attorney, not the city.
Yeah, the one speeding ticket that I got, I was actually going to fight it because I said there were no signs saying that this was an industrial zoned area. But then I was like, you know what? I was going 70 in a 45. There's not a lot of defense for that. Just pay the bill. So.
Just pay the bill. The most common speeding ticket, fact number 4, is for driving 12 miles an hour over the speed limit. So
12.
You don't want to be the 10 to 12 range, if I had to guess.
Many people have commented 9 and you're fine. So apparently if you go 9 miles an hour over the speed limit, they'll leave you alone. But.
Well, sometimes if you do that on the interstate, you become a safety hazard.
That's true.
Idiots don't know how to drive.
All right. Well, go over to our Facebook page. If you haven't liked us yet, please do. It's Max Country 105.